Okay, so today we're talking about functions, and this function has been moved left, right, and it's been moved up, down. The stuff on the inside is the left, right stuff. The stuff on the outside is the up, down stuff. I encourage my kids in my class not to think of this as, is it over y or over x first. The first thing I ask you to do is think, is it up, down, or left, right? And what is that one on the outside there? Up, down. And once I know it's up, down, then I can think it through and say, if it's going up, down, which axis is it going over? It's going over the x. Because if you just try to memorize x or y, you'll get them confused, and then you get a lot of problems wrong. If you think it through and say stuff on the outside is up, down stuff, and then if you know it's up, down, you know it's going to go over which axis, you can figure it out, okay? And on the same thing, and this is on the inside, and it's therefore left, right, and therefore it's going across the y-axis. All right, and then this, just to clarify, this last part is 7 which way? Doesn't it seem like it should be moving to the right? But it's on the inside, and so therefore you go to the left. You do the opposite on the inside is what you'd expect. And this one is down 2. All right, sorry, it's up 2. You can trust the stuff on the outside. It does what you would expect. So in your function families, you're going to see a resemblance between, if this is the parabola family, they're all going to kind of look like parabolas. They're just all going to be a little different. All right. So here's a family of parabolas. Okay. And we've got different flips and stuff going on. Here is a function problem, which is still a function question, but it's not about the moving as much as it is about writing what the answer is. But if I wanted to talk about it in terms of moving, it starts like this. It's 3 times that function. Have I told you what things do when you multiply them? I kind of hinted at it. It's a stretch, but I haven't actually explained that. That's not on this quiz. What would be on this quiz is like something like at the end they did plus 10. What would that do to the function? Move it up 10. That part you'd have to know how to do. All right, so on this quiz, though, also, there are questions that are just like this. They have a function, and then they say, well, the easiest of them might be just, what's f of 2? All right, in your head, look at the 2, stick it in your head there, and it's like 16, and then what's the answer? 11. Good, because you stick in the 2 here, you get 16 minus the 5 makes 11. Once I know f of 2 is 11, I can put an 11 right here, because it's a substitution, that for that. So 11 plus 10 would make 21. So I just figured out that problem. I'd like you, in your head, without even writing yet, to figure out what this one is. $43? Did you get 43? Okay. Because this part, f of 2, was the 16 minus 5 makes 11, and 3 times the 11 makes 33, plus 10, 43. All right. I want you to try... I must have hit save on this one, which I'm going to have to go back and fix, because I saved all my writing to the board, which is not good. I'm sure the teacher next hour is probably looking at the same file going, what the heck is all that junk? Anyway, Oprah. Yeah, we're going to do the Oprah question later. Hide, Oprah. Hide. Okay. It's still a see Oprah. She's big. That's probably why I can see her. Oh, I know, that was harsh. Okay. Anyway, try this one. Actually, this one I want on paper. Eventually, I got to get you writing. Because if you're not moving, you're not learning as well. It's true. Maybe someday they'll be able to just force learning directly into your brain. Like in the Matrix, where they just kind of plug you in and all of a sudden all this info flows into your brain and like, I know Kung Fu. Like, just like that, you already know all the moves and all the, right reactions to certain attacks or whatever. Can you imagine how powerful that would be? Like, to just plug in and all of a sudden know all of college calculus, or plug in and be instantly your brain is full of how to build an airplane, or, it just would totally change the world if you could. I don't know if that would be a trade-off. How about this? Would you give up the ability to learn if you could just go onto the computer and click on something and it would download to your brain instantly and you'd know it? Would you trade that? That's a tough question, maybe. Wouldn't be a no. That's true. You'd be a slave to whoever was in charge of the computer then, right? Well, yeah, what is a virus? Very good point. Yeah. They like download this thing that also makes you attack short people or something or whatever. That'd be bad. Okay. So x squared minus 9 is the function. I'm going to stick this into the function. So I'm going to rewrite this with an empty spot, squared minus 9, and then I'm going to drop in this, x plus 7. And then I get that squared minus 9, and then I have to throw this negative on the front of it. So there's my answer. It's just not done yet. Go ahead and finish it from there. What happens first, the squaring or the multiplying by -1? The squaring. Because please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses come first, but there's nothing I can do in the parentheses. Then exponents come next, and I can do the squaring. All right, in the back row, tell me what to do. Yep. So tell me what to do. Yep. Yep. There's something I left off, though. That negative in front of everything. That negative in front of everything is still there. And it's not, that negative isn't on the 9. This negative won't affect this -9. So then I got to distribute that negative out. Negative x squared minus 14x minus 49 minus 9. You get what I did there? And then I'm going to put these guys together, and that'll make negative 58. So negative x squared minus 14x minus 58. You going to be able to handle that question on the test tomorrow? Okay. Now, here's the tougher one. That's right. Instead of f of x or f of 2, I want you to figure out the answer to f of Oprah plus 6. I'm guessing this is the only time that you have evaluated Oprah on your math assignment. Your answer will have an Oprah in it. This is not the question now. This is the question now. This does throw a lot of people for a loop. It really is just the same thing as if I had said f of 2 plus 6. I would take the 2 and stick it in the function. Well, in this case, what do I stick in the function? Oprah. And so it's really Oprah squared minus 9 is what I get. And then what do I have to do? Add the 6 at the end. And the final answer is Oprah squared. She'd probably appreciate that. And then plus, no, not plus, minus 3, right? All right. Her network is called the oxygen network. I don't know if it has to do with the O being the, H2O, oxygen is O, and anyway. Yes? I never even figured that out. It's Harpo Productions. Dang. How long was that there, and I never even noticed that, the Oprah backwards. Cool. All right. Moving on. This one. If you move something to the left 6 and up 2, it's pretty easy if it's just a plain function, even though it may be weird to have an f of in your answer. It's still f of and then x, and then I have to move up, left 6, sorry, plus 6, and up 2 plus 2. You get that one? Pretty easy. All right, do that same thing, except this time, do it to something that's already been moved 5 up. And tell me what you get when you take this and move it, oh, that was weird, and move it up 2 and left 6. Good. None of this stuff is really hard. It's just thinking in a different way. Okay, if I'm going to go left 6, that's got to go on the inside, right? So I'm going to rewrite this x with a little room in there, squared plus 5. And now I'm going to do left 6 plus 6, and up to, well, what do I do with this then? Add 2 to that, and I'll have a 7. So it's x plus 6 squared plus 7. Yep. Now, could I actually multiply that all out? Yes, I could. In this case, I'm going to save the time and not do that. But all right, on this one, if I have to move this guy left 6, do I just replace this with a left 6? No. I take the 2 it already was moved over and then put the 6 with it as a plus 6. Makes a total of 8. So this will become x plus 8. And then how about the outside? Yeah, it's a -3 and a +2. Makes a total of -1. Raise your hand if you understand what we're doing with these kind. All right, good. Then we'll move on. This is a function that starts out as the black one and it ends up as the red one. And if you're asked to write a function for this, you aren't given anything other than a picture. How do you write a function if you only have a picture? Well, you write it based on where it was. It's moved to here. So I'm going to say it has moved down. I'm going to look at this pointy compared to this pointy part and say it's moved down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. And then 2 to the right. I'd like you to write me what you think the answer should be on the test. You're writing an equation. And it was down 6 and right 2. There's not even any flip happening here. Then once you're done with that, I'd like you to write me the domain and range of the black one. Domain and range of the black one. The black one. Because I had to pick between the black and the red. Just a 50-50 thing. We could ask you for the red one or the black one. All right, so this one, don't forget if you have a picture, you have to call it f of x. And then I have to move it down, what did I say, 6 was it? Down 6 and 2 to the right. Why is it not plus 2? Can't trust the stuff on the inside. Now, I'm going to give you a new word for that I want you to start remembering. It's called the stuff on the inside. It's called counterintuitive. Have you heard of the intelligence agency, the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency? What if you're going against somebody's intelligence agency? Then what are you? Counterintelligence. That's right. You're a counterintelligence agent. That means that you're trying to counter their intelligence agents. So there's Russian agents right now. We're probably tapping this recording as I'm making it. In the United States, they just kicked a whole bunch out a few years ago. And those agents have agents in the United States that are trying to track down the Russian agents that are here. So if you're doing that, you're a counterintelligence agent. And they try to counter, they try to do the opposite of that. And if you are a counter to the counterintelligent agent, I don't even know what you call that, but you're probably the counter of the counterintelligence. Yeah, then you're just called a spy. A double agent is working for 2 different teams. That's a little different. They're like, say they're only, like, let's say they're a spy that's working for the U.S., but they're also working for Pakistan at the same time, and neither one of them knows that they're working for both, and then they kind of can really mess you up. A double agent. Okay. That's true, because they converted them over. That's true. All right. The domain of the black one. Domain is important for you to understand. You're going to lose a lot of points on this test if you don't get domain. So I'm going to get this zeroed down in on just the black one by making this thing go away. Get out of here. Go over there somewhere. Okay. And the domain is how far this way does it go compared to how far that way does it go. So you put a parenthesis or a bracket, depending on the situation, and you put in 2 numbers here and here. So I'd like you to please write down what you think the domain and range of the black function is. Write D and then write the answer. Some people haven't started this yet. Some people have already finished it. All right, in the front row, Mr. N. What did you get for domain?
Bracket 0.
All right, what you just said is it goes to 0 this way and to 8 that way. Is that what you want it to say? No, it doesn't go to 0 in the left direction. What's it? It goes to there, doesn't it? How far is that? That's... So you should have said from -8 to how far does it go that way? -2. Do they have brackets or not? Raise your hand if you had that answer on your paper. Okay, good. And now let's try over in the back row. Double D, what'd you get for range?
I got bracket 0.
Okay, you're saying the smallest that it ever gets in this direction is 0 to the highest it gets, which is 8. Bracket. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Good. Okay. Now let's go to pretty orange tennis ball picture. You've got a parabola is the parent. And then you got the shiny star with the red line through it as its parent. No, that's not the parent. That's the child function. I'd like you to write the equation for the child function and then give the child function's domain and range. See if you could answer that one. All right, your first thought should be, I know this one. I don't have to use f of x. I know that this is x squared. So you should be using y equals x squared as the parent. So the child is related to that. And it's been moved, though. So I'm going to leave room in there for the move. And it's been moved to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. That would be like that. And then it's been moved down 2. Everything's right except for one little thing. What have I not got right? Yes? Mr. S? Y on the outside. Outside is the up-down stuff, and this is an up-down flip. Very good. Raise your hand if you have this right. All right? Most of you are getting this then. Then what's the domain and range? Well, the domain is how far will it go this way compared to how far it will go that way. What's the smallest it would ever be? Remember, it's got arrows on the end. The smallest it'll ever be this way is -infinity. You are correct. To what's the biggest that it would ever be that way? It'll go to infinity. That's correct. The range is this way and this way. What's the lowest it'll ever go? -infinity. Remember, we're talking distance that way. To what's the biggest it'll ever be? Stops right there, right? -2. Bracket. Raise your hand if you get domain and range. Okay, then I think we're on the right track. We have a little worksheet to finish up and some time to work on it in class.